Good evening, Forgotten Power Study Group. I hope you guys are doing great, that you've had a wonderful Easter in spite of the quarantine, and that you've really just felt God's presence just more deeply in your own personal prayer life, and that you've also been able to connect with other people. We had such a pleasure of being able to get together on Zoom a couple Sundays ago, and as promised, I am going to give you the chapter 5 study guide tonight. However, it is totally different. As I was praying about this and what the Lord wanted to come forth from this, I kept hearing, don't teach, don't do anything, just ask questions. And this chapter really challenges us to not only look at the early church, but to look at our church as a whole. I know this may seem a little bit precarious of a situation, though, because very quickly when you start to analyze things, you can turn from critiquing things to being critical. And as we know, our spirits should have nothing critical about the church, only that which is constructive and uplifting. And so my hope is that that in reading this chapter and in going through this study guide, that we can be constructive builders of prayer within our church, and that we can really look at our own roles as attenders, as members, as participants in ministry, but also as leaders, to be able to change Anchor Church. I'm in no way implying that prayer is not happening at Anchor. I believe it is in many ways. But my question is, how can we really grow even more in this area? And so here's what we're going to do. I have provided for you the study guide for chapter number 5. If you would read that this week, and then each of the questions really takes a deeper look at how we're doing as Anchor Church, not just as individuals. And I believe this is an absolutely important piece that we're to look at. And so as you go down through the study guide, we're going to be looking at what are we doing together well, where are areas that we need to improve on, how our culture actually hinders the inside of our church, and the willingness of the people to gather together in prayer. I have also included a very brief 2-minute video by John Piper with some very fascinating thoughts on what it means to pray together and actually see God's glory in our church and in our community. And then looking at yourself very honestly to say, okay, is prayer pervasive? Is it prevailing? And is it intentional? And is it intense? Those are some things that I really want to look at this week. And so we're going to do this in a totally different fashion. We're going to look at this and prayerfully consider these things individually. And then next Sunday at 6 p.m., we're going to come together with our study guides and with what we're learning and what God is speaking to us about, and through His Word and through our time in prayer, and really talk through how can this be a change agent for more powerful prayer inside of Anchor Church. I am very excited about this and what God has in store. And so with that being said, this is probably the most brief video you will ever hear from me. And so I hope you enjoy this week and that God speaks to you in beautiful ways. Thank you.